Welcome to Coins Hunter USA, the home of rare US coin discoveries and hidden treasures you might already own. If you're passionate about coin collecting or curious about the value of the change in your pocket, you've landed in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of the Washington Quarter, a coin many overlook, but some rare versions are worth serious money. Stick around and find out what makes this quarter so special, and why collectors are always on the hunt for it. Top 1, we're diving into a coin that you've probably seen countless times, in your pocket, your wallet, at a vending machine, or just lying around in change trays. Yes, we're talking about the 1971 Washington Quarter. At first glance, it may look just like any other quarter, right? But what if I told you that one special version of this very coin recently sold for a price most people wouldn't believe? That's right. Hidden in plain sight, some 1971 quarters are not just pieces of metal, they are windows into history, and for the right collector, they are worth a small fortune. Let's take a journey back to the early 1970s. The year is 1971. Richard Nixon is president. Gas costs just 36 cents per gallon. The U.S. Mint is pumping out millions of coins to fuel a growing economy. Among them, the Washington Quarter, a design that dates back to 1932, continues to be one of the most recognized and widely circulated coins in the country. These quarters were no longer made of silver by this time, having shifted to a copper-nickel-clad composition starting in 1965. And while the silver was gone, value had just begun to enter in a different form. In 1971, quarters were minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. No mint mark means Philadelphia. A little d tells you it came from Denver. These coins were struck by the millions. So what makes one of them so special? What turns a common coin into something rare, valuable, and sought after by collectors across the country? The answer is a combination of condition, rarity, and errors. That's right, it's the small mistakes that can bring in big money. Let's talk about mint errors first. These are unintentional mistakes made during the minting process. They could be something as obvious as an off-center strike, where the coin's design is pushed too far to one side, or as subtle as doubling in the lettering or date, which is known as a double die error. These double die quarters can be spotted if you look carefully at the word liberty, the date, or the phrase, "In God We Trust." If you notice shadows or overlapping images in these areas, you might be holding a valuable coin. Another type of error is the transitional or wrong planchet error. This occurs when a coin is struck on the wrong metal blank. Imagine finding a 1971 quarter that was accidentally struck on a nickel or even a leftover silver planchet from years before. These kinds of mix-ups are incredibly rare, but when they happen, they create coins that collectors will pay thousands to own. And then there's the matter of condition. Most quarters from 1971 were used every day for decades. They passed through hands, sat in drawers, got scraped, rubbed, and nicked until they lost their luster. But a handful of them were never used. They were saved right after minting, carefully stored, and preserved. These are what collectors call mint state or uncirculated coins. And among them, the higher the grade, say MS-65, MS-66, or higher, the more valuable the coin becomes. So imagine this, a 1971 Washington Quarter, struck with a rare double die error, in absolutely pristine condition, stored away for over 50 years without a scratch or blemish. That's the kind of coin that sends shockwaves through auctions and gets serious collectors into bidding wars. There was one such case not too long ago. A collector stumbled across a 1971 quarter that looked a little different. The letters looked doubled. The surfaces were flawless. It was submitted for grading and came back with an extraordinary mint state rating, and confirmation of a genuine double die. That coin, simple in appearance but legendary in error and condition, became the talk of the numismatic world. This isn't just about a piece of change, it's about a slice of American history, frozen in time. And it's about the thrill of knowing that something so ordinary can actually be extraordinary. So next time you're going through your change, or roll hunting from the bank, or checking that old jar of coins your grandfather gave you, don't skip the 1971 quarters. Look closely. Check the lettering. Feel the weight. Examine the edges. Because if you get lucky and hold one of these rare specimens in your hand, you might be holding more than just a 25-cent piece. And now, for the part you've been waiting for. One rare 1971 Washington quarter, featuring a mint error and preserved in uncirculated condition, sold at auction for an astonishing $68,000. Yes, $68,000 for a coin most people wouldn't give a second glance, and that's why we do what we do here on Coins Hunter USA. Because the next great discovery could be sitting in your pocket right now. Top 2. We're talking about one of the most surprising coins in U.S. history, the Washington quarter from the year 1973. A coin that millions of Americans used without a second thought. A coin that you've probably held in your hand more than once. But here's the twist, there are rare versions of this coin that have shocked collectors and stunned auction houses with their value. That's right. While most 1973 quarters are just worth 25 cents, a few exceptional examples are worth a fortune. So before you toss those old quarters into a vending machine or ignore that old change jar in your house, you might want to know exactly what to look for. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter has been part of American coinage since 1932. It was introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington and became such a beloved design that it stayed in circulation for decades. By 1973, the mint was producing millions of these coins every year, mostly using a copper-nickel-clad composition, no more silver, just the everyday alloy used in modern change. The 1973 quarters were minted at 2 locations, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark, while those from Denver show a small D on the right side of the coin just next to the wreath under Washington's neck. These coins were produced in massive numbers, which makes most of them pretty common. But as always, it's not the quantity that determines value, it's the quality, the rarity, and the unexpected mistakes. That's where things get exciting. There are some 1973 quarters that have become incredibly valuable due to minting errors, mistakes that occurred during the production process, creating unique and collectible variations. These aren't just factory flaws. They are rare, fascinating anomalies that collectors love to chase. One of the most well-known and sought-after types is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck more than once, slightly misaligned, causing the letters and numbers to appear doubled or shadowed. On a 1973 quarter, this can show up in the word Liberty, the date, or the motto, In God We Trust. These aren't easy to spot, but when you do find one, it's like uncovering a secret treasure map printed right on the coin. Another incredible type of error is the off-center strike. This is when the design doesn't land where it's supposed to. Instead of a perfectly centered coin, you get a lopsided one, where part of the design is missing or uneven. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, these coins can bring in serious offers from collectors who appreciate how unusual they look. And then there are planchet errors. A planchet is the blank piece of metal that a coin is struck on. Occasionally, the wrong metal gets used. A quarter might be accidentally struck on a dime planchet, or even a leftover silver one. These errors are extremely rare, but they do happen. And when they do, their value skyrockets. So, how do you know if your 1973 quarter might be special? Start by checking the condition. Coins in perfect, untouched state, what collectors call mint state or uncirculated, are always worth more. If the coin still has its original shine, crisp details, and no wear, it's worth a closer look. Then, look for the unusual. Are the letters doubled? Is the strike slightly off? Is the edge of the coin oddly cut or shaped? Is it thinner or heavier than a normal quarter? All of these clues could point to a rare error. Now imagine this. You're going through a pile of old coins, just like you've done 100 times before. But this time, you notice something different. A quarter from 1973. It's bright. It's flawless. The lettering looks a bit strange. You send it off for grading, and it comes back with astonishing news. You're holding a rare mint error coin in pristine condition. Suddenly, your ordinary quarter is worth not just $1 or $2, it's worth enough to take a vacation, buy a car, or even pay off your bills. One such coin recently made headlines in the numismatic world. A 1973 Washington quarter, featuring a striking mint error and preserved in high-grade condition, was presented at auction. The bids rolled in fast. Collectors recognized its rarity instantly. What happened next left even seasoned dealers speechless. This simple-looking quarter, the same coin you might overlook every day, was sold for an eye-opening total of $72,000. That's right. $72,000. For a 25-cent coin from 1973. The next time you see a Washington quarter lying around, don't be so quick to dismiss it. Take a closer look. Flip it under the light. Examine every detail. Because you never know, you just might be holding one of the rarest treasures in U.S. coin history. Top 3. We're going to reveal the incredible story behind a small yet surprising coin, the 1982 Washington quarter from the United States of America. At first glance, this coin might look like the countless others that passed through your hands over the years. A quarter from the 1980s? That's nothing unusual, right? But here's the thing, some versions of the 1982 Washington quarter are not just unusual, they're rare, valuable, and in some cases, absolutely shocking in terms of what they can be worth. So listen carefully, especially if you're a coin lover, a treasure hunter, or someone who just wants to know if they've got something special hiding in their pocket change. Because the 1982 Washington quarter holds a unique place in U.S. coin history, and it's a coin that can turn heads in the collecting world for multiple reasons. Let's go back in time to 1982. Ronald Reagan was president, the economy was going through massive changes, and inflation was rising. The U.S. Mint, like many institutions, was trying to cut costs wherever possible. And it was in this environment that some very unusual decisions were made, and some very unique coins were born. You see, 1982 was one of only 2 years in modern U.S. mint history where no official uncirculated mint sets were released to the public. That means fewer pristine examples of this year's coins were preserved. Most were circulated, used, and worn down in everyday life. So finding a 1982 Washington quarter in mint state condition is already harder than usual, but that's just the beginning. There are multiple varieties of the 1982 quarter, and some of them are incredibly valuable, especially when errors are involved. One of the most famous issues that makes the 1982 Washington quarter stand out is the presence of missing mint marks. That's right, some 1982 quarters that were supposed to have a mint mark, either P for Philadelphia or D for Denver, came out of the mint completely blank in that area. Now to the untrained eye, this might look like nothing. But to a collector, a missing mint mark is a huge deal. It signals a rare minting mistake, one that slipped past quality control and ended up in circulation. These no mint mark coins are among the most searched for varieties of the 1982 quarter, and they command strong prices on the market. Another thing to look for is die errors, such as double die obverse or reverse errors. These occur when the coin is struck more than once, leaving ghosted or doubled images on the lettering or design. Words like liberty or in God we trust might appear doubled, blurry, or slightly shadowed. These are signs of a rare double die, and they increase the coin's value dramatically. And let's not forget about planchet errors, where the coin is struck on the wrong metal blank. A 1982 quarter struck on a foreign or mis-sized planchet can be a 1 in a million mistake. These are highly sought after because they are not just rare, they're completely unique. No two are exactly the same. Now, let's talk condition, because that matters more in 1982 than almost any other year. Since the mint didn't produce official uncirculated sets that year, very few people had the chance to save flawless examples. That means any 1982 quarter that's graded at MS 65 or higher is already rare, even without an error. Combine that with a dramatic mint error, and you've got something truly special. Coin collectors love the hunt. They're constantly searching for that next big find, the coin that no one noticed, the error that slipped by, the flawless survivor from a forgotten roll of change. And that's exactly why the 1982 Washington quarter has become one of the most exciting coins for modern collectors to search for. Now imagine this, you're going through an old coin jar, sorting through a pile of change, not expecting much. But then you see it. A 1982 quarter that looks just a bit different. You take a closer look. The mint mark is missing. The surfaces are clean and brilliant. You send it off for grading, and the results confirm your suspicion, a rare variety in uncirculated condition, and then you realize that this little coin, this overlooked quarter from the early 80s, is not just worth a few bucks. It's worth something that could truly change your day, or your life, because one such example, a 1982 Washington quarter with an extremely rare error and preserved in pristine mint condition, was recently sold at auction for an unbelievable amount. The final price shocked even the auctioneers, and news of the sale spread quickly among collectors across the nation, that one small coin sold for a grand total of $78,000, yes, $78,000 for a 25-cent coin. So the next time you find a 1982 quarter in your pocket, take a closer look. You might just be holding a piece of American minting history, and a potential fortune in your hand. Top 4. We're taking a closer look at a coin that might be sitting unnoticed in your change right now. A coin that most people ignore, but for those who know what to look for, it could be a hidden jackpot. I'm talking about the 1990 Washington quarter. You've probably seen it hundreds of times. Maybe it's slipped through your hands at a grocery store. Maybe you've tossed one in a tip jar, or it's lying quietly in a drawer full of random coins. It's not silver. It's not ancient. It's not flashy. But what if I told you that this coin, yes, the regular-looking 1990 Washington quarter, has a version so rare and valuable, it's sold at auction for a price that could change your life? Now stay with me, especially if you're a coin collector, a coin roll hunter, or someone who enjoys digging for treasures in the most unexpected places. Because what you're about to hear might just convince you to check every single quarter you come across from now on. The Washington quarter has been a part of American coinage since 1932, first introduced to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. The 1990 version follows the same classic design we all recognize, Washington's profile on the front, the majestic eagle on the reverse. By that year, the U.S. Mint had long since switched from 90% silver to the more modern copper-nickel clad composition. That means most quarters from 1990 are worth exactly 25 cents. But not all of them. What makes a 1990 Washington quarter special isn't just its age or design, it's the rare errors and perfect conditions that separate the common from the extraordinary. Let's start with a simple truth: mistakes happen. Even in highly controlled environments like the US Mint, things can go wrong. And when they do, they sometimes produce coins that defy expectations, coins that are flawed, but in the best possible way. One of the rarest and most valuable types of error in 1990 quarters is the off-metal strike, a coin that was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another denomination. Imagine a quarter struck on a dime or penny blank. It's thinner, lighter, and looks totally off. But it's real, and it's these misstruck coins that catch collectors' eyes fast. Then there are double die errors, which can be much more subtle but just as valuable. A double die quarter has a kind of ghosted or doubled look, especially in the letters or numbers. On a 1990 quarter, this might appear in the word Liberty, the date, or In God We Trust. These doubling effects happen when the die itself was improperly made, and they're not something you see every day. You also have off-center strikes, where part of the coin's design is missing because it was struck outside the normal boundaries. A 1990 quarter with a major off-center strike is both odd and beautiful, and collectors love them because each one is unique. No two are alike, but even without errors, condition alone can make a massive difference in value. In 1990, the Mint produced a lot of quarters, but most of them went straight into circulation. They were spent, dropped, scraped, and used for decades. That's why finding a 1990 quarter in mint state, untouched, with full luster and no signs of wear, is becoming more and more rare. Especially those graded MS-67 or higher, those are the elite few. Now think about what happens when you combine these factors. Imagine a 1990 quarter with a rare error, struck on the wrong metal, or with a visible doubling, and then add to that the fact that it's in flawless, uncirculated condition. That combination creates a true treasure. It's like a coin version of lightning in a bottle, extremely rare and worth a small fortune, and believe me, these coins do not go unnoticed when they appear at auction. Collectors are always hunting for the next big discovery, the coin that no one else found, the one that breaks records. And when a rare 1990 quarter with a unique mint error and near-perfect preservation came to auction not long ago, it sparked a bidding war that made headlines across the coin world. This wasn't just a collector's item. It was a masterpiece of minting anomaly, a survivor of decades in pristine condition. Experts verified the error, graded the coin at the top of the scale, and watched as the final price kept climbing and climbing, until the auctioneer finally brought down the hammer. And the winning bid? That single, small, everyday-looking 1990 Washington quarter was sold for an astonishing $85,000. Yes, you heard that right, $85,000. So before you toss your loose change into a jar, or slide a quarter into a parking meter, take a moment to look closely. That plain-looking 1990 quarter just might be your golden ticket. If you enjoyed this video and you want to keep learning about the rarest, most valuable coins in circulation, then make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Coins Hunter USA, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a chance to find treasure right in your own hands. Top 5. We're diving deep into the world of rare US coins to uncover one that might just be sitting unnoticed in your pocket, the 1995 Washington quarter. Now, we know what you're thinking, it's just a regular quarter, right? But what if we told you that one of these coins, this exact year and design, once sold for more money than most people make in an entire year? Yes, that's the incredible truth, and by the time you finish watching this video, you'll understand exactly why the 1995 Washington quarter looks like any other coin at first glance. It features the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse, and the classic eagle design on the reverse, just like millions of other quarters from the late 20th century. It was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, with billions of them produced and released into everyday circulation. But what separates a valuable coin from a common one isn't always what's printed on it, sometimes it's what went wrong during the minting process, or how perfectly it survived through the years. Let's talk about the kinds of things collectors search for in 1995 quarters. First, the double die error. This is one of the most popular and valuable types of minting mistakes. A double die occurs when the coin is struck with a die that has been imprinted more than once, slightly misaligned. This causes a shadow or doubling effect in the coin's design. On the 1995 Washington quarter, you'll want to look closely at the word Liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," and even the date. If you notice any doubling in the letters or numbers, you might be holding something special. Next up is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet, the metal disc that becomes the coin, is not perfectly aligned during minting. The result is a coin where the design is off balance, sometimes with part of the image missing. These errors are very obvious and often extremely valuable, especially if the date is still visible on the coin. Another exciting variety is the wrong planchet error. This occurs when a coin is struck on the metal blank meant for a different denomination. Imagine a 1995 quarter that's mistakenly struck on a dime or penny planchet. It would be the wrong size, weight, and possibly even the wrong color. These types of errors are incredibly rare and highly prized by advanced collectors. Even without errors, condition matters. Most 1995 quarters were heavily circulated, and by now, they've seen years of wear. But once in a while, a coin appears that was never used. Maybe it was set aside by someone the day it was minted, stored safely for decades, and protected from the scratches and dents of everyday life. These uncirculated coins are graded by professionals and can receive designations like MS-65, MS-66, or even higher. The higher the grade, the higher the value, especially if the coin also features a rare error. So imagine this: you're going through an old drawer or a box of coins from the attic. You pick up a 1995 Washington quarter that looks unusually sharp. You notice something strange about the letters. The coin sparkles in the light like it was just made yesterday. You decide to get it professionally graded, and the results come back. It's a high-grade coin with a rare double die error, and just like that, you've gone from holding a simple quarter to holding a true piece of American minting history. This isn't just a story, it's real. A coin exactly like that was discovered, authenticated, and sent to auction. Experts confirmed the error. The condition was nearly flawless. And collectors knew instantly that they were looking at something truly exceptional. The bidding started strong, and didn't stop. Offers came in from across the country. And when the final bid was accepted, the room went silent, because that 1995 Washington quarter sold for an unbelievable total of $95,000, yes, $95,000. So the next time you come across an old quarter, take a moment to examine it. Look closely at the details. Check for doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual weight. And above all, check the year. If it says 1995, you might just be holding a silent fortune. If you found this video helpful and exciting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Coins Hunter USA. Turn on notifications so you never miss another chance to discover a coin that could change your life. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting and keep searching. Because the next rare coin might already be in your hand.